Hola, bienvenidos a Corporate Learning Middle School. Me llamo Señor Quiñones. Yo soy maestro de español in Corporate Learning. Hi, just to let you know in English, my name is Mr. Quiñones, and I teach Spanish 1 and Exploratory Spanish here at Corporate Learning. I want to welcome the rising 6th graders looking into the foreign language program. As we teach the language, the students can demonstrate that they're learning the skills through their listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking of the language. So a lot of our assessments are geared towards being able to identify how well that they've learned to listen to the language itself. As they listen to people speaking Spanish, they're able to answer questions based on what's being asked or what's being said. Then there's going to be several opportunities for them to read in the language, where they either have like small books at a very basic level, or just little parts that we put on there that the kids have to read and be able to answer questions based on what they're reading. Writing's another big part of it, but writing is a little bit more difficult skill because they're having to produce the language. So writing is when you start getting to an upper level. So there is some writing at the younger level, at the 6th grade exploratory level, but that mostly comes into play when you get into Spanish 1 for high school credit. And then they're speaking. The kids will learn how to be able to speak very basic Spanish about several different subjects, and we'll cover those subjects in just a minute. So some of the topics that we're going to study in the exploratory level will deal with, as you can see on the slide, greetings. So greetings is where you're learning how to meet people for the first time in the foreign language, what things you could say and ask when you're meeting somebody. Another thing we're going to cover is going to be the Spanish-speaking countries. So we'll cover the different countries themselves, the capitals, regions. We're going to learn some history about a couple of the countries so that that's a little bit more interesting when you're learning a little bit of history behind it. Then we're going to cover numbers, questions and things that you can ask that deal with numbers, such as your age, phone numbers, things like that that you would ask other people. We'll learn how to talk about the days, the months, the weather, so that you can actually, we'll do a little bit of a project on here where you become a weather forecaster and you have to present what the weather forecast is in a Spanish-speaking country. We'll also learn about the different colors. We're only going to study about 11 colors, and like I said, exploratory level is a very basic level. It's just for you to start getting a feel for the language and see what it's like. So we're going to cover 11 of the colors, and then what are some things that have those colors, and we'll learn how to discuss those in Spanish. We're also going to learn about some Spanish foods. So this is my favorite part, obviously, because I absolutely love to eat. So the Spanish foods, kids end up liking this art as well. Some of the differences in Spanish-speaking countries compared to here, what we think is Spanish food is really not necessarily Spanish food. So we'll learn how to say a lot of those in the language themselves. We have several things that we use in order to really kind of practice the language so that the students get a better grasp of the language itself. They become better because they're playing through a bunch of games that we incorporate in the classroom. So we'll have parts that they actually have to read things and all this stuff, and they go home. Sometimes there's a little bit of homework to be done at home. But the kids' favorite part is when they can play games. We call it Gamifying the Classroom. So we like to incorporate a lot of these games, and a lot of the ones that I use tend to be on the computer. We have activities such as Quizlets. We have quizzes, Kahoots, and Gimkits. The Quizlets have a lot of, it's excellent to be able to practice it because there's already so much with vocabulary that they can go and study. It's got cue cards that they can practice. And then they actually get to go in teammates against each other, where they might have 5, 6 different teammates, and they're all going against each other in the classroom to see who's got a better grasp of the language, and they can help each other out with that. A quiz is a little bit older. What they do is they have questions, and they have to choose the answers based on the questions, and they get scored based on how quick they can answer those. Kahoots is similar to that, but it's more controlled by the teacher, where we can stop and discuss a lot of what's going on in between. There's one of my favorites ones is called Gimkits, and a Gimkit was actually is a program that was invented by a high school student, and this Gimkit system is really cool. I mean, what they do is they'll have all these information about whatever matter that we're covering. So if we're covering the greetings, I can put on a game kit dealing with all the vocabulary for the greetings, and the kids earn money as, not real money, but as they're playing the game kit, the more questions they get right, the more money they earn, and then they can use that money to spend to buy power-ups in the game and all this. So what they're trying to do is build as many points or as much money within the game as they can. And they can use some of that money to slow down other people in the class so that they can try to make sure if they see who's in first or second, if they try to slow them down, that gives them a better chance to get at the top. So it adds a fun way to be able to practice the language while you're demonstrating that you're really getting a good grasp of the vocabulary. A newer one now is called a Blooket, and these kids have really gotten to like the Blookets. It's the same thing as Skim Kits where they get to attack each other, and there's different things that as they're learning the language and answering questions, the more they get correct, the more opportunities they can take money from their friends in the classroom, or they can even, if I'm playing it, they can take it, they love to attack the teacher, so they can take money from me as well. And at the end of it, it shows what percentage of the questions that they're getting right. So really it's a fun way for them to practice the language. So I hope you're excited to take a foreign language here at Corporate Landing Middle School. Again, I'm Mr. Quinones. I look forward to meeting you and seeing you out here in the classroom and in the hallways.